Hello, Chag Sameach. I hope you have a really great Passover. I'm Rabbi Dr. Carrie Tuling. I wanted to share this little bit of teaching. I've always been wondering about the fact that it says in the text that they didn't have enough time to let their dough rise. And so the Israelites had to take unleavened bread with them instead. And that seems strange to me because if you've ever made challah, you know that it only takes a couple hours to let the dough rise. And so when I was in rabbinical school, I asked one of my Bible professors for help with this, and he put me in touch with some of the English translations of Akkadian materials. And in the Akkadian materials, it describes how bread is made. And bread in those days was made over a 5 to 10 day process. One of the first steps of making bread, in fact, was you'd take your barley, say, and you would soak the grains, and you would soak them until they sprouted. And then once they sprouted, then you would dry them out. That's why it took so many days. And then you would make flour out of it. And why would you want to sprout your grain before you did that? Well, that creates more vitamin B and more sugar. That makes it a lot more nutritious for you, and it increases the taste of the bread as well. Well, what happens is if you are going to leave within 24 hours, you have to skip some of those processes, such as sprouting the grains. What that means is that the Israelites would be taking bread that was not as nutritious as it could be, in fact was missing key vitamins that they were going to need on the trip, and were in fact going out into the desert with insufficient supplies. That's what the having to leave without allowing the bread to rise really means. And so part of the message of this is this idea that they were showing a lot of faith that things would work out. And sometimes in our own lives, we have that same problem where we need to move forward. We need to actually go out into the desert, so to speak, before we have time for our bread to rise, before we have time to have sufficient supplies on hand, before we have all the things we need, before we're completely ready. And we are sometimes asked to go out anyway, or to move into this new place. And they took that risk and they took that leap of faith in order to go out into the desert and to follow Moses and to go out into freedom. Freedom feels like that. It's scary. It's not an easy thing to try to accomplish. And yet they had the faith to do it. And so when we eat the unleavened bread, we're actually reenacting this realization that sometimes moving forward, sometimes redemption, sometimes freedom takes work and takes faith. So I hope that you have a wonderful Passover, and many blessings to you.